What's going on, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint. Gonna do a recent reads on the Before Watchmen omnibus. This will be a non-spoiler review, so stay tuned. Alright guys, Before Watchmen, this is a newer release. A lot of people wanted to know my thoughts on it, if it was something that they should jump into. And from most things that I've heard, were there's some good issues in here and there's some bad. There's some hits and some misses. Because what you get here is a series of miniseries, right? You have like 6 issues of Rorschach, Dr. Manhattan, Comedian, Minutemen, Silk Spectre. And I think most people gravitate towards the Rorschach, Comedian, Dr. Manhattan stories, and I can see why. But I didn't dislike the Silk Spectre miniseries or Minutemen or any of those. This book stands true to the title, Before Watchmen. If you've read Watchmen or seen the movie, they give little biographies of every character in the movie or in the book that lead up to the main event. This book, these series, basically just dive deeper into those bios and just kind of flesh out the characters a little bit more. But it's not really like new materials or new events. It's a lot of stuff that you see that ends up happening in the original Watchmen by Alan Moore. So it's not like a whole new story on something that happened before that. It's kind of like a companion to the original Watchmen series, to be real. So, what does this collect? First of all, it has a $125 cover price. If you're like me, you're getting it for 50% off through in-stock trades. Yeah, so it has Comedian 1 through 6, Rorschach 1 through 4, Minutemen 1 through 6, Silk Spectre 1 through 4, Night Owl 1 through 4, Dr. Manhattan 1 through 4, Moloch 1 and 2, Ozymandias 1 through 6, Crimson Corsair number 1, and Dollar Bill number 1. So for the majority of the issues, they have a 2-page story that ends up being one whole story, you know, when you read all the books. The Crimson Corsair, which they did the same thing in the original Watchmen series. It's kind of like that black and white pirate ship kind of thing. I did not enjoy that story at all. I was happy that it was only 2 pages I had to read. It was just written. I mean, Len Wein wrote a lot of it. He wrote a lot of these stories, actually. Rest in peace. But I'm reading it and I'm not comprehending it. It's just words. It's like, I don't know. It was just a tough read, and I didn't enjoy those stories at all. I did feel like some of these miniseries dragged on a little too much. Like maybe they should have all been 4-issue series. Some of the Ozymandias, which was one of the stronger series, drug on a little too much. The Silk Spectre, Minutemen stuff. Yeah, maybe Minutemen. Was that 4 issues or 6? Yeah, Minutemen should have been 4 issues. That was too much of a drag. So you got to remember, this is collected in an omnibus, but it was released as single issues. So maybe reading it more spaced out was more enjoyable for fans. But as an omnibus, it just feels like it's a little too drawn out. It does have different artists. So what's funny is I see Jay Lee, who we met a couple of times last year at Comic-Cons, and I didn't realize he did a lot of those realistic painting type things. He did all of Ozymandias. He did some Wolverine stuff, and I really enjoyed his art a lot, man. I really liked his stuff. Lee Bermejo did some stuff here, which was cool. I think he did Rorschach. He might have done some Comedian stuff. Brian Azzarello as well was a writer, along with Len Wein, like I mentioned, Joe Kubert. Anyway, let's take a look at the artwork, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But if you like Watchmen, you're going to like this. It's like a companion to the original series, in my opinion. If you're not that big of a Watchmen guy, you're not that much of a fan of it, this is an easy pass for you. This is just going to expand the story that you already loved if you loved Watchmen. All right, so let's take a look at the artwork and all that good stuff. Alright, so I showed this off during the haul video not too long ago when I got these books, but now we're going to look at it with new eyes after having read it. Like I said, here's the dust jacket, cover price, contributing artist and what it collects, little breakdown of all the little characters. So in this dust jacket, you got the Minutemen, This one you have the comedian. Was a little disappointed that it was just an all black hardcover. I don't know why they didn't spring for like the wraparound cover or anything. So this book is not collected based on miniseries. It's not like you're going to see Minutemen 1 through 6. It's chronological based on when the books came out. So it's Minutemen 1, Silk Spectre 1, Comedian 1, Night Owl 1. And you could tell it was meant to be that way because that overarching story, the Crimson Corsair, it says like part 1, part 2, part 3 at the end of each issue. So here's Minutemen number 1. Takes place in the late 30s and early 40s. Silk Spectre number 1. So you get different artists on each book, different creative teams. The Silk Spectre stuff plays off of the movie, kind of like where, with the mother is the original one and the daughter takes up the mantle. Here's like the second issue of Crimson Corsair. It's like black and white. It's like a pirate thing. It got a little supernatural. It goes comedian. Comedian's cool because he like exists in all of the eras in the Watchmen mythos. He's a teenager in the Minutemen. He's a guy in the 60s in the modern times. It was a Jay Lee art. I definitely liked it. Yeah, now I remember he did like the Superman Batman run that looks similar. He has a very distinct style. And the paneling was very similar with these circles and half circles. Yeah, Ozymandias was a standout for me. Silk Spectre's like in the 60s and acid and stuff. Night Owl. You got your boy Dr. Manhattan. The Dr. Manhattan was a little trippy. Speaking of trippy. Yeah. Here's the Rorschach stuff. You could tell it's Bermejo. Well, the Moloch stuff was pretty deep, especially this shit with him and Ozymandias. I don't know if everything that happens in this book was in the movie or if they kind of added more to how he got cancer and stuff and why Comedian was crying inside of his bedroom, in that scene. So I think that was shown for the first time in this book, which was cool to see the reasons why. That's pretty much it, guys. At the end of the book, you get a variant cover gallery. He has some Jim Lee stuff, so I guess Jim Lee did variants to each of these ones. Here's Jim Lee again. Bonus gallery. That's a cool Bermejo. All right, y'all. So that is Before Watchmen. Kind of what everybody was saying who read it. You'll like some of it. You won't like some of it. I liked it all, but some of it just was a little too drawn out. Let me know what you think about Before Watchmen in the comments below. Are you planning to pick up the omnibus? Again, I think it just really depends on how big of a Watchmen fan are you. That movie is underrated, man. I love the Watchmen movie. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more recent reads, for more comic book hauls, more statue reviews, more CGC spotlights, daily content. Tune in, hit the bell, stay minty. Peace.